Charlo and Canelo, September 30th, next Saturday night. What are you looking for in this one, Teddy? I'm pumped for this fight. I think Charlo's going to pull an upset here. I'm just going to say that right now.
Well, I talked about it along those lines, so I don't know if I influenced you or you always felt that way, but, a few weeks ago...
Probably influenced me.
Well, a few weeks ago I said that, but look, Charlo hasn't been active. He's fighting the smaller Charlo, which, because the other Charlo has been inactive. The middleweight champ, Charlo, the bigger one, has been inactive for 2 years or whatever, somewhere around there. And, we hope he gets back. There was talk about mental health issues. That stuff, you don't want to play games with. So you never can be certain what that means, except that obviously he is or was struggling in some dimensions in those areas. We hope that he's okay, Charlo, the older one. So the younger one is going to get this opportunity to make a lot of coin, to actually have a legacy. He's got a legacy, but to add to that legacy a special way, he gets to fight the golden goose that lays the golden eggs and has laid them for a long time. Charlo gets to fight Canelo. And people are going to say Canelo's the bigger guy, which he is now. But let's not forget, he's not naturally the bigger guy. So I wouldn't put all my coin on that reason that he's just bigger, if that's why you're thinking that he has an edge. Because you got to remember, Canelo's been around a long time. He turned pro when he was 16 in Mexico. So it feels like he's been around 100 years and he's still not real old. He's getting up there, but he's not real old, especially as old as you would think, being around as long as he's been around. That's because he turned pro when he was 16. He has been around a long time. And he's got a lot of fights now. But he started at 140 pounds.
Yep.
And he worked his way up. So he's not the naturally. Now, I know he wasn't finished growing when he was 16. All right. He went to welterweight. He went to junior middleweight. Then he went to middleweight. Then he went to super middle. He went to light heavyweight. Came back to super middle. But he stopped growing before he got to super middleweight. He did stop growing. So he's not, I'm being accurate here. I make mistakes. I try not to. And I base it on a lot of years of experience. So he's not really naturally the bigger guy. He's the bigger guy now. Now look, he's been at a bigger weight for a longer period, and a long period of time, and a longer period of time. Yes. Is he cemented at that weight? Yeah, I guess he is. Cemented, maybe for possibly dubious reasons and also not dubious reasons. He's grown, his muscle mass has grown. He's maybe on a weight program where he's chiseled that mass into muscle, and that's him now. He is now a solid middle, junior middle, super middle, whatever. Okay. But again, he didn't start off, he grew into this. He went through phases to get here. The naturally bigger guy, actually, you could probably say, might be Charlo, who started at this weight, from all I can remember, if I'm accurate. Started around junior middleweight. And, I'm sure he has no problem fighting a little bit heavier. He probably has to work to make sure that he stays at that weight. But then he was naturally a bigger guy when he started his career than Canelo was. Now here's the breakdown of the fight. I think I laid it out, the part that has to be laid out, the beginning part, getting into the foyer before you get into the main dining room of this, the main section of the house. First you go through the foyer. All right, we took you through the foyer. Now let's get to the main section of the house. to break this down. Canelo is slipping. It has to be part of my handicapping. He is slipping. I've said it before for months, maybe more than months. But in his last fight with the European fighter over there, that he, I think he struggled a little bit. He fought a game guy, but a guy that a few years ago, I don't think I'd be making any great statement by saying he probably would have got him out of there. I don't think I'm breaking any great news by saying that. And he didn't get him out. The guy's getting old. The guy's regressing a little bit. It happens. It happens. So put that into the equation, which I am. The fact that Charlo should be hungry, you would hope he's been well taken care of by Heyman. Heyman takes care of his fighters, maybe even spoils them. But that's okay. For me, you can't pay a fighter enough. They get in the ring, they take the risks they take. They deserve whatever they can get. But hopefully he's hungry. He's a good offensive fighter, Charlo. You can catch him too. You can find him too. He lost to Tony Harrison. But Tony Harrison fought a really good fight. Actually, both times. The first time when he beat Charlo and the second time when he got stopped, I believe, in the 11th round by Charlo. I thought he was winning that fight up to that moment.
That's exactly right. And then Charlo also had a draw 2 fights later against Brian Castano that he came back and avenged. Same way with Harrison, 10th round knockout in a 12-round fight against Castano to avenge that draw.
Charlo has his kinks in his armor, which obviously the Canelo people have seen, and they are bargaining on. But he is a good offensive fighter. He is, he's got plenty left in his gas tank. He's not slipping. He is whatever. I'm not saying he ever reached the level that Canelo reached, but he's as good as he's ever been. He's got, like I said, he's got gas in his tank. He's lively. He's lively. He can punch. He's got decent skills, decent hand speed. Canelo's, a good counterpuncher, very deliberate, places his punches to the body and head well. But Canelo has taken a few paces backwards, as I said, or suggested.
Well, one other data point for you, Ted. I don't know if you saw this. I don't think we talked about this, but Canelo had a 23-1 Egyptian boxer called Ahmed El Bali as a sparring partner in his training camp, and the kid said that he thinks Canelo is tired of boxing and not that motivated, and during sparring he said after a few rounds that he was getting tired. Obviously the Canelo camp came back at this guy and was like, you're crazy, why are you talking shit? It's just an interesting data point. I don't think that sparring partners, you get paid to do a job, to go out there and slander your guy after he brings you into spar. You get to get trained with the champ. You get the experience to then go out and talk crap about him. Unless he was mistreated in camp, I don't get the motivation there. But it was just an interesting comment and something that maybe should be looked at. Is he motivated? Is he looking past Charlo? It's an interesting...
I'm looking at it because that's part of my evaluation. And that's part of it. How can he be as hungry? Really, I know Michael Jordan, but he's almost an anomaly where, he was in a different sport. But I think it's a fair analogy. He was always hungry because he was he.
Oh yeah.
Kobe, another one. But there's not a lot of those people around in any sport or any business. So that is part of the equation here. Is Canelo still hungry? Maybe that sparring partner's telling the truth. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's disgruntled. Maybe he didn't feel he got paid enough. Maybe he got thrown out of camp. Whatever. But is it possible that he's not hungry? Damn right it's possible. Like Marvin said, hard to get up at 5 a.m. and do road work when you're sleeping in silk sheets, baby. So that's all part of it. Another part of it is I've seen the slipping, and part of the slipping is he's not as busy as he used to be. Canelo's strength, he doesn't waste much. He places punches, he counters well. He's pretty accurate and deliberate about what he's doing, but he's not doing as much of it as he used to. Again, you get older. He's not using the jab as much as he's got a good, solid, hard jab that controls and stabilizes guys on the outside. He's not using it quite as much. He's not putting the punches together. His last few fights, single punches. Before you saw doubles and triples. Now you're seeing singles more. That's part of the erosion. Is it because he's not as hungry or because he's getting older? Combination, maybe. Maybe a combination. He's not quite as aggressive. He was never a recklessly aggressive guy. You shouldn't be. But he'd walk you down. He'd get to you. He's not doing that so much. He's leaving you alone a little bit more now. And if you leave alone a guy with as much talent as Charlo, I'm not saying he's the greatest Charlo. I'm not overdoing it. But he's got enough talent. If you leave a guy like that alone and you allow that guy to grow a little bit, and if that guy has some of the qualities that I would hope that he has as a champion himself, if he has some of those qualities and some of those hungers that we're touching on a little bit, you could be creating a problem for yourself leaving that guy alone. Giving him a chance to grow during the fight. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I think that, look, could Canelo catch him and knock him out? Yeah, he could. He could. But that's always possible in prize fighting. But I'm going to tell you that I'm going to say it's going to be a competitive, close fight where Canelo might even find himself behind up until the point that he gets himself ahead. I think that it'll wind up going to the scorecards. Again, could he catch him? Canelo's a pretty good puncher. He's some people say a darn good puncher. Could he catch him? And, he's not an impossible guy to hit. Yeah. He doesn't get hit with everything, but you can hit him. He'll stop there in the middle. He'll exchange with you a little bit. You can catch him. That's always a possibility. But that aside, I'm going to say it's going to be a tight fight, going to go the distance. It's going to be a fight where maybe Canelo needs his friends. Yeah, I said it, friends. He's got friends in this business. Yeah, he does. Anybody who's saying he don't, you're naive. Either that or you might be one of the friends. And you don't want to you don't want to say it because you're one of the friends. You're one of the guys on his side doing business with him, helping him with one of these organizations, where Canelo is the favorite son, where Canelo is the golden goose, where Canelo is looked out for, where Canelo is protected. Yeah. So if he needs that protection, he'll probably get it, and in a close fight where it'll go his way.